Hello everybody, my name is Zach. Hope you're all having a fantastic day and welcome to the day 154 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season, where we go over everything that happened in the previous day in the world of basketball. And we do have a decent amount to talk about today, so without further delay, let the day 154 recap begin. How's that saying go? The rappers want to be ballers and the ballers want to be rappers? Well, apparently that is the case with all the ballers in today's NBA having a side profession and rapping. And now there is a rapper that wants to get into the game. Rapper Master P has expressed his serious interest in becoming an assistant coach for the Pelicans next year. In an interview with TMZ, P said that they need to hire me. And he also said that him being an assistant coach for the team would help them draw in more free agents since he is on good terms with a bunch of players. One of those players being Anthony Davis, who is good friends with Master P, since P often attends a bunch of games in New Orleans and is an avid fan of the team. As for the actual basketball side of things, P might not be the most qualified person for the job, but he is known for being a huge fan of the game, as well as he plays in a few pickup games here and there, including the NBA celebrity game this year that he was a part of. But that being said, if he gets the job because he's a fan of a team and he also plays in a couple of pickup games here or there, then I might have to make a phone call to the Detroit Pistons. So the Sacramento Kings have been in the rebuilding phase for a solid 10 years now. They tried and failed to build around star center DeMarcus Cousins before shipping him off to New Orleans Pelicans earlier this season, in a trade which was originally perceived as the Kings taking an L because of what they received for him. But they did get Buddy Hield, a nice young player who has been playing better for Sacramento than he has been for New Orleans, as well as a draft pick, meaning that if both of their picks fall within the top 10 this year, they will have 2 top 10 picks. But if one of those picks happens to fall outside of the top 10, then that will go to Chicago. Also, if they somehow end up with a better draft pick than Philly, then Philly has the rights to swap those picks, but still it's gonna be the same thing because Philly's gonna have at least a top 10 pick as well. So the rebuilding process has started, and apparently they are looking to rebuild in their front office as well, as a report came out yesterday that said they are interested and Sam Hinkie. Now, this report does not mean that they are looking to get rid of Vlade Divac, as in the report they also said that they are not looking to get rid of Divac, as well as they are not looking to hire anyone above Divac in the front office. So if they do bring in Sam Hinkie, it's going to be more as an advisor to the front office, an advisor to Vlade Divac. And personally, I think that having Hinkie as a consultant would be a good move for them. Now, his antics in Philly were a bit on the extreme side when it came to rebuilding, as when he first started the process, he decided to trade the entire Sixers roster and the ball boy for as many draft picks as he possibly could. And then if those players that he got from those picks didn't turn out to be franchise players, he would trade that player for more picks, with the idea basically being to eventually get a franchise player through the draft. Since Philly wasn't a big free agent market like LA or New York, nor were they a championship caliber team, they really had no means of getting a franchise player. Therefore, they believed they had no means of winning a championship. And the only way to get that franchise player for them would to be through the draft. And really looking back on it, it seems like it could be working. Now, they're not a good team by any means at this point, but if the Sixers can get and keep Simmons and Embiid healthy, they have a very bright future. On top of that, they're still loaded with picks and will have another top 5 pick coming their way this year as well. So yeah, I can see why the Kings will be interested in bringing in Sam Hinkie, as if they are looking to go this route, he is the person with the most experience in going this route. If I were them though, I'd be looking to bring in some more scouts, because draft picks are only as good as the scouts that you have. You can have as many top 10 draft picks, but if you keep snubbing on players every single year, if you keep missing out on the actual talent in the draft, it doesn't matter. Now, the Kings have struck gold a couple of times in the past. You look at Isaiah Thomas and you look at, of course, DeMarcus Cousins, but more often than not, they do wind up passing up on some pretty good talent as well. But that's going to lead us to the question of the day. Would you trust Sam Hinkie with the rebuilding process for your team? If your team was a small market team and you guys were stuck in mediocrity every single year, would you trust Sam Hinkie to rebuild your team? For me personally, being a Pistons fan, this year has been one of the most disappointing seasons I can remember, in terms of the fact that we were supposed to be pretty good but wound up being pretty bad. But I'm not ready to start the rebuilding process just yet, because we still do have, you know, quite a few young. However, if we were to stay in basically the same spot for the next few years, where we either barely make the playoffs or barely miss the playoffs, then I couldn't say that I would be totally against starting the process. Let me know your answer down in the comment section below. Now let's jump into the games from last night. What was supposed to be one of the most anticipated and exciting games of the night turned out to be one of the biggest snooze fests of the night. The Spurs versus the Cavaliers. LeBron James versus Kawhi Leonard. Their last meeting was an intense showdown that saw the San Antonio Spurs edge out the Cleveland Cavaliers in the end. This one was over by halftime as the Spurs led at the break 64-40 and would go on to win 103-74. Kawhi Leonard became the third player in Spurs history to log 100 straight games of scoring at least 10 points. The other two players being Hall of Famers George Gervin and David Robinson. Congratulations to you, Kawhi Leonard. He had 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, and scary sight for Cavaliers and really all NBA fans as LeBron James had to walk off the court after taking an elbow to the back and wouldn't return. He had 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists before the incident. While the game might not have been particularly close, I will say this for Orlando. They do a heck of a job entertaining regardless of the score. They must have had something against the rims at the Air Canada Center last night because it seemed like they were trying to destroy them. Dunk after dunk after dunk for Orlando, but for Toronto as of late, it has been win after win after win as they continue to try and climb back into the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference. They got win number 6 in a row with the final score reading 131-112. DeMar DeRozan, fresh off being named Eastern Conference Player of the Week, played like the Eastern Conference Player of the Week last night, scoring 36 points on 13 of 21 shooting, and Corey Joseph had the offense running super smooth as he has 15 points and 13 assists. And despite their loss, all 5 of their stars did manage to score in double figures for Orlando, led by Elfrid Payton and his 22 points and 9 assists. One thing Russell Westbrook was not about to do after losing to the Rockets despite his near 40-point triple-double was lose again as the Thunder took on the Mavericks. With under 5 minutes left to go in the game, the Thunder found themselves down 12 to Dallas. But like I just said, Russell Westbrook wasn't going to let the Thunder lose again. Westbrook completely took over the game in those final 4.5 minutes, scoring 15 points in that time period, including hitting the game-winning shot with 7 seconds remaining to give the Thunder the 92-91 lead and the 92-91 win. Westbrook with another near 40-point triple-double of 37 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, while Wesley Matthews had 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists for Dallas. Two teams missing 2 of their stars, the Jazz without their leading scorer in Gordon Hayward, and the Pelicans without DeMarcus Cousins for the 2nd straight night. In their previous game, Anthony Davis was able to will the Pels to the win over the Denver Nuggets, but it just wouldn't work out the same 2 nights in a row. Davis did play like Anthony Davis once again though, with 36 points, 17 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 blocks, but Rudy Gobert continues to make a name for himself once again as he dominates on the glass, the defensive end, and holds his own on offense. 20 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 blocks for Gobert. He's about to average at least 20 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game next year. And the Jazz get the 108-100 win. Rodney Hood also contributed 20 points to the cause, and Jalen Joe Ingles got the start in place of Hayward and scored 19. Memphis playing their 2nd straight game without their leader in Marcus Gasol, looking to bounce back after losing to the Golden State Warriors on Sunday and to snap a 3-game losing streak overall. Their opponents, the Sacramento Kings, straight off an impressive 18-point comeback in the final 5 minutes against the Clippers, with the winner eventually being the Sacramento Kings as they outgrind the Memphis Grizzlies. 91-90 was the final score. Darren Collison, who has been playing really well ever since the Cousins trade, had 23 points and 7 assists, and Buddy Hield scored 14. Meanwhile for Memphis, Mike Conley scored 22 points and dished out 9 assists, and the Grizzlies are now on a 4-game losing streak. Carmelo Anthony returned to action for New York last night after missing the past couple of games with a sore knee. And this one was a battle of the losing streak. Pistons versus Knicks. One of these teams would see their losing streak snapped and the other one would see one more game added to that streak. And it would be the Knicks who come out on top with the easy 109-95 win, snapping their losing streak at 5 and extending Detroit's to 4. Porzingis, Rose, and Melo all had above 20 for the Knicks last night. Porzingis with 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks, and Rose had 27 points and 6 assists. Carmelo Anthony had 21 points and 5 rebounds, and for Detroit, Reggie Jackson set this one out as he was complaining of knee pain before the game. That's gonna wrap up the recaps for all the games. Now let's hop into the player of the day. Yesterday, Anthony Davis and his 31 points and 15 rebounds received a total of 637 votes to become your player of the day. And here are today's nominees. You have Kawhi Leonard and his 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. Russell Westbrook and his 37 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. Kristaps Porzingis and his 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 blocks. Rudy Gobert and his 20 points, 19 rebounds, and 5 blocks. Or DeMar DeRozan and his 36 points. You guys can go vote for the player of the day right now by following the straw poll link in the description box below. And now let's hop on over to to the question of the day. Yesterday, I asked you guys whether or not you agree with Patrick Beverley saying that it was a disgrace to the game for players to rest. And Beverley received a lot of support from you guys. Most of you guys really agreed with what he had to say, including Neckbreaker saying, I partly agree with Beverley. They earn enough money to go play b-ball. It's their job to play every game and then try to win championships. I also understand they need rest for their health, etc. But in my opinion, if the NBA wants to avoid players resting, there is two solutions. One, shorten the season to maybe 65 or 70 games. Two, begin the season in late September, early October. Now, the shorten the season argument is one that's come up time and time again, but it's also one that will most likely never happen for a couple of reasons. One, the NBA does not want to lose out money. That would be a lot of money lost from advertisers and other deals and stuff like that for them to shorten the season by 10 to 15 games. Number two is the players will lose money in their contracts. The players get paid based on an 82 game regular season, and the majority of the players do not rest throughout those 82 games, and the players that need the rest are often the players getting paid the most money. You look at LeBron James, the Golden State Warriors, you know, even Kawhi Leonard. So they're going to make boatloads of money no matter what. But then if you look at the other guys, they're the ones that are really going to be suffering. The guys that, you know, play every game but maybe don't make as much money, and then they'd have to take less money just because the other guys needed some rest. So I don't see that happening for that reason. As for starting their season earlier, this is something that I like the notion of. Now, personally, I wish they would just do away with the preseason as a whole. Now, I believe I heard something early in the season about the preseason supposed to being shorter this year, so the season can start a little bit early. But I would like to see them do away with the preseason as a whole, as I just don't see the point of it. And if it would help reduce the amount of back-to-back games, I think it would definitely be worth it. And Nicholas West saying, it's basketball. How tired can you get playing for 35 minutes? And it's not even like you have to run all of the time. NBA players in the past never sat out, and now it's a necessary thing. This is what happens when fame gets to your head. Well, this was an interesting comment. For the part about being it just basketball and the players only have to play like 35 minutes a night, they don't even have to run the entire time, that is not necessarily true, because there's a lot more the players have to do besides just go out there and play basketball for 35 minutes a night or 35 minutes every other night. There's practices, conditioning, a lot of stuff goes into the games. And then you take a look at the travel. They're traveling all the time, and traveling causes an insane amount of fatigue, especially for athletes who need their body to be at top shape all of the time. There's no question these players do get tired. That is not a question whatsoever, especially with back-to-backs and traveling, playing a game, traveling, then playing another game the day after without getting much rest. That is very taxing on the body, which will lead to more injuries. But now for the main argument you made, which is one of the most common arguments against players resting, and that's the fact that the players of old never had to do it. So why should today's players do it? And the answer is they don't have to do it. The players obviously don't have to do it. They could easily play an 82 game season if they wanted to, but it's just a new strategy that they developed to gain a competitive edge, to give themselves a better chance at winning the championship. You look at Golden State last year. Last year they went all out. No one rested. They played all 82 games and really tried their best through all 82 games, and in the postseason they were burned out. And meanwhile, the Cavs have been resting, kind of taking it easier during the regular season, and they look like they were in much better shape come time for the NBA Finals. So it's not necessarily they have to do it. It's all about gaining the competitive edge over your opponents come June. That's why you see all the championship caliber teams resting players, whether it be the Spurs, the Warriors, or the Cavs. And that about wraps up all the action for the day 154 recap of the 2016-2017 NBA season. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you already know to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already for more daily NBA videos, and until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team STC, and I'm out of here.